show y'all my first interview. That is like exciting. What is up, fam? It is Shar, and welcome to Law Live in Color. I provide your tips and experiences on the law school process and legal field as a person of color. Y'all, I am so pumped today because I get to have an interview, show y'all my first interview. That is like exciting.
So my name is Robert Dinkins. I am currently a 2L at Cleveland State University School of Law. Over there, I'm the treasurer for the Black Law Student Association. I'm also the treasurer for the National Lawyer Guild, and I am a participant on the Bolsa Moot Court team at my school.
Why law school? When did you determine you wanted to go to law school? Why did you come to that conclusion? And then why Cleveland State?
Okay, so I've always known I wanted to go to law school for like a very long time, probably since I was like 9th or 10th grade. I've always been doing like different internships, working in different like areas, seeing how the law is able to, affect people. And that's something that I was interested in doing. So why Cleveland State? Mainly like my mentor, they were saying that if a person is still bragging about what law school they went to after they already graduated, like they're not doing anything. So I'm taking that advice into consideration, along with making sure that I don't want to have a lot of debt and stuff like that. Like Cleveland State was just like the obvious choice. So it's a good program. A lot of people pass the bar on the first time. The tuition is not that expensive compared to many other schools. And it's in a very nice area. Cleveland, like the cost of living is not that high, so you don't have to spend too much there. So it was really the cost effectiveness, in my opinion, and the potential of being able to pass the bar in the first time.
Did you take a gap year before you went to law school? And what you did? So like, what made you come to the conclusion to take a gap year? Was the gap year worth it? Do you wish that you had come sooner, or is now perfect?
Okay, so the gap year for me personally was just, I didn't have time to study for the LSAT while I was in undergrad, so it was like I'm going to need time to study, and so that was the main reason why I took a gap year. Talking with people, I would honestly like tell them you should at least take 1 year off, just like work in the real world, like get a sense of how that works. Like at my school, it's not really a traditional law school, so we have a lot of people like of all ages. Like I want to say the oldest person is in their 50s or something getting their law degree. So like you can easily tell the people who really just went straight from college to law school. Like you can just tell them apart, because it's just certain little quirks and things like that nature. So I will always recommend like people to at least get some real world experience, at least like, especially if you don't really know if the law is something for you. Like I would definitely say like get that real world experience, because law school is always going to be there, so it's really no rush.
Right. I think that's what made people like, they just feel like there's a rush to be, as young as possible, graduating from law school as young as possible, but that's not. It's so not like that. Like, even when you talk to like lawyers now, they're like, taking a gap year is so much more proliferant, like not proliferant, but like so much, it occurs so much more now. Like back in the day, it was like, yeah, go straight to law school. Now it's like, no, take like 3 years, like take some time to even there's people that have gone to law school, don't even practice the law. They're not even affiliated with the law. And some of them are like, it was honestly just a waste of money. So make sure that you want to go into it. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on the whole.
Exactly.
I agree with you on that. And then like make some money too, Yeah. Like, you're full-time at Cleveland State?
Yes.
So are you able to work at all, or do you focus solely on?
No. I would not recommend like working at all.
Exactly.
Not at all.
Exactly.
So at my school, like you have to do like an externship in order to graduate.
Okay.
So you do have to like work for a little bit, but when you are working, they count it as a class. So basically, you're not like, even though you're a full-time student, you won't be doing like, 5 or 4 classes. It'll be like 3 classes and a job, rather than like 5 classes and a job,
So like, you talk about mentors and everything like that. How do you go about, because this is a big question that I typically get, how do you go about finding a mentor, establishing that relationship, and then maintaining that type of relationship?
So, a mentor relationship is just like any other relationship. Like, you're going to need to cultivate it, work towards it, put your foot out first and stuff like that, and hope for the best. So generally, whenever I find somebody that I'm interested in knowing or working with, I'll just hope that I can meet them. Like, it depends on how I'm hearing about them. Of course, like, let's say, for example, we want to work with Johnny Cochran. Johnny Cochran would, be a little bit harder to get in touch. You know what I mean? Right. But let's say that it's a person that you're able to reach, like you met them in person before, or, you're able to send them an email. Like, just start off that relationship like that and let it go from there, Also, it don't necessarily have to always be about the law. Like, you should also be talking to them about, like, other things like football, basketball, or, what type of food they like to eat. So basically, I like thinking of those type of relationships as just like any other relationship. It's just in addition to everything that normally comes with them, it also comes with being able to get advice from them and being able to ask them, like, okay, if you was in my shoes, like, what would you do, and stuff like that. But before that, you actually want to make sure that that's the advice that you're willing to take from that person. Like, you got to make sure that their life is at least, like, good to you, so you can say, okay, this person can give me good advice and stuff like that. But generally, I just like to think of it as just any other relationship.
Like, going into law school, like you said, you kind of always knew, right, what you wanted to do. So when it came down to the nitty gritty, like the application and the recommendations, was it still kind of foreign to you because, you didn't really have too much going into before, or you knew everything before and it was like, oh, I know how to go about this application? How was that for you?
So yeah, the application process was solely foreign to me. Okay. I had no idea what I was doing and stuff like that.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then, like, when you went about, like, recommendations, did you do it early? Like, when you first decided you were going to go to law school, did you start asking people early, or did you start, like, I guess, waiting until application time?
No, I normally like to have people to do things for me, like, early in the process. So then it's like, it's not like, oh, I have a recommendation that's due tomorrow, I need you to say all this good stuff. Like, I don't normally. So, like, what I did was I just, sent them an email saying, hey, I'm applying for law school. It would really mean a lot if you're able to write a recommendation for me. Here's the link. And then, follow up with them depending on that. So that's generally how I went about getting recommendations. The different people that I was looking for, of course, like, you need like an academic person and then like a non-academic person. But then, of course, like when you're applying for the law school, it's not like you can submit 10 recommendations.
No, you can't. It's like, typically it's like 2 to 4.
Yeah. So generally, I had like, I want to say 5 or 6
that you just had offhand. Yeah. And then you could just pick from those. So, now that you're a 2L, what has been your hardest year so far? How was the transition when you first got to law school? And how are you doing now?
So I feel like the hardest year is always the 1L year, simply because, like, for lack of better words, they literally throw you into the deep end. Yeah. So imagine a pool 50 feet with some sharks at the bottom. They just throw you there, and then you got to hope for the best. Right. So generally, like, what you should be doing your 1L year, you should be, of course, forming relationships with your peers and everything. Those going to be your future colleagues. But then from there, like, definitely prepare for your exams. So in most law schools, you only have 1 graded assignment, and that's the final exam. So it's like, if you know that you have a, final exam in December and it's August, you might as well start doing some preparation from there all the way until December. So by the time, November comes around, you're not going to have to be cramming in or trying to fill in outlines and stuff. Like, you're already ahead of the game. And I feel like the one thing that a lot of people struggle with is just learning how to do law school well. So, of course, everybody does law school differently, but what's really important is finding out how you particularly do it and then sticking with that, or, you know, making different tweaks as you see. So, first year, it was just, I want to say, like, I did bad. Like, I did pretty well. But it's just hard because you just never done it before.
So on my actual YouTube, I have a segment called Off the Top where I talk about like law school news, or I talk about something that's off the top of my head. And sometimes it'll be, you know, over something controversial or whatever. Something that's really big about law school and the profession is looking the part. So like tattoos, piercings, your hair. As a Black person, that's a huge thing because in a lot of states, that's not a required law to not be able to discriminate for hair. So through your journey and as you've done summer associate positions and things of that nature, how has being open about, like, you have a septum piercing that you have right now, how is that? Are you able to wear it? Does he say anything about it? And if you had any, you know, other prior, you know, experiences where stuff like that wasn't okay, how is that?
So it really depends on where you're working at, the different type of environment that you're in. Every firm, every different job's going to have its own culture. So one thing that you should always be looking for is like a culture where like you're free to be yourself. You should know that from like day one of being there, like, oh, I can be myself over here. But one thing I have seen, I feel like a lot of lawyers who are working for like companies or different firms, a lot of them are like more conservative versus the ones that may work in like smaller firms or working as a solo practitioner. So that's where it really comes down to. In terms of like courtrooms, I haven't worn my septum in the courtroom before. Do
you plan on ever doing it, or?
I might. We'll see. It all depends. But like some lawyers, they come in with like hand tattoos. Another thing, a lot of women attorneys, they've been getting like the studs lately, so a lot of them been wearing those to courts. So, you know, times are definitely changing and things of that nature. So what I would just recommend to people, like, of course, I know that there's definitely like a group of attorneys who are like, oh, we need to cling on to our old conservative ways and everything, you know, so I just say stay away from them, you know, they're going to die soon. But, because, I mean, things are just necessarily going to have to change, like, especially, like, as you see, like, more people of color are coming in, more women are coming in, more LGBTQ people are coming in, so it's just necessarily going to have to change.
So, in the end of these interviews, what I like to do is call closing arguments, so you get to say whatever I guess is on your chest, what you want to get out. Be aware that this is for people that are looking to go to law school, that are in the process of going to law school. So, you know, in this part, just think of how you were then and any advice that you possibly want to give to people that are going through it now.
Well, the only thing I can really tell them is they can definitely do this. Like, a lot of times people feel like they can't do law school, and like law school has this mythical cloak around it. But I know a lot of people who have been able to do it, and so it's not like you have to reinvent the wheel in order to graduate from law school. Like, you just have to get here. So definitely, like, I want to rely on like the imposter syndrome. I feel like everybody necessarily has that. Like, everybody's already going to be questioning the things that they're doing. But besides that, like, just focus on you and make sure that you get everything that you need to get done, and just come on to law school, because then once when you're done, just take the bar exam and like that's it.
So I hope you all enjoyed the interview and got some gems from Robert. It was an amazing interview to have. So I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, please like, comment, and subscribe. As always, follow me on my socials, Instagram, TikTok. You know the drill. And if you don't, please tune into those. I do have an LSAT TikTok that I delve into LSAT problems with. Please let me know if you guys are messing with that, so I know to keep making them or not. And peace, guys.